Some of the cars that helped Andrew and Tristan Tate build their entire internet image weren't actually theirs. And before somebody gets in the comments like, bro, renting a car doesn't mean you're broke. Yeah, I know. That's not really the point. Because honestly, the interesting part is the car was doing it in the first place. Because Andrew Tate wasn't just showing you a car. He was trying to show you proof that he made it, he was successful, and he's living differently from everybody else. That's what made the whole internet image so powerful. Because you don't have to explain wealth when you can just park a Bugatti in front of a camera. Because you don't have to explain wealth when you stand in front of a mansion. It kind of goes kind of self-explanatory. Explain his confidence when you're surrounded by everything people associated with winning. And that's where I think the Tate phenomenon gets a lot more interesting. Is Andrew Tate rich or not? That's not really the question. The real question is that why did so many people need to believe he was rich?
The brothers' lawyer admitted in US court filings that these vehicles, plus a yacht used in promos, helped project an uber-wealthy image to boost their men's money-making courses. While critics call it a scam on their followers, supporters note it's common for the rich to rent or structure assets for tax and liability reasons. Andrew Tate even said his cars come through a rental company he controls. The details fuel ongoing debates about their public persona amid financial scrutiny, including a seized Aston Martin deposit in the UK.
Chapter 1: The Lifestyle Was the Argument. Think about how Tate's content worked. He was sitting there giving you a spreadsheet, he was showing you the audited financial statements, he was walking through his tax returns, he showed you the lifestyles, the Bugatti, the Rolexes, the hotels in Dubai, the private planes, and of course, the beautiful women. And then he basically said, look at my life. Clearly I know what I'm talking about. And that's actually pretty powerful from of persuasion because we naturally are drawn to visible evidence. If somebody tells you I'm successful, that's cool, but if they put up a $300,000 car, now your brain starts to fill in the blanks. Maybe this guy actually knows what he's talking about. Maybe he's figured something out. Maybe if I listen to him, I can get there too. And that's where the luxury becomes more than a luxury. It kind of becomes like a proof or it becomes marketing. Chapter 2. And this isn't just an Andrew Tate thing. This is the part I want you not to get lost on. Because if you watch the story and think, Andrew Tate just rents some of his cars, you're missing the bigger picture. Influencer culture is built around this stuff. Somebody rents a Bugatti, somebody borrows a friend's wife, somebody gets a hotel room with a ridiculous view, somebody leases a private jet for a photo shoot. And technically, it's not cap, it's not flying. They're really in the Lamborghini. They were really at the hotel. They really did fly that private jet, but the viewer doesn't see the transaction. They only see the proof, quote unquote, that they want to see, that image, right? And that persona. And that constructs a story for themselves. This person's made it. They're rich, they're successful, they figure out the game of life. And that's where social media gets kind of insane because we're not really looking at people's lives anymore. We're trying to look for evidence that they've selected to convince us of a particular life or particular persona to sell us a product because we are the product. Chapter 3. So why did people buy it? And I think this is where Tate is actually worth studying because clearly millions of people weren't watching him because they really cared about Bugattis. The Bugatti was a symbol, right? It was a symbolism. It represented freedom, status, masculinity, money, control, and for a lot of young men, probably something even more straightforward. I don't want to feel powerless. That's a much deeper desire than wanting a sports car. And if somebody comes along and says, hey, bro, you're not powerless, you're not invisible, you just need to be more disciplined, more masculine, more successful, and more like me. And that's a powerful message, especially if the person's delivered appears to have already achieved everything you're struggling to achieve. Which brings us back to the cars, because the cars aren't really the story. Again, it's the receipt, or at least they're supposed to look like receipts. And if those receipts turned out to be rented, well, now we have a much more important question. What exactly were we buying? So I just want to be clear, this is not Tate is a fraud video. This is more Tate is an unusual, interesting case study in how internet cloud works. And again, I want to be clear, renting a car isn't inherently deceptive. Plenty of wealthy people rent, lease, borrow, or finance homes, cars, just that lifestyle. The question is, what is being encouraged to believe by those who are their audience? And if you found this video entertaining, please drop a like. And if you want more content like this, please subscribe. We make this kind of content weekly. We're over on Twitch playing games and talking about dating, psychology, and masculinity. All right, it's your boy Win Condition, and I am out.